So I'll start. In the previous lecture, we have seen what is KNN classifier. As seen earlier, it is a tool used to classify a given observation in certain categories. Now, suppose the response variable y is having three categories. So whenever a new observation has been identified, we can classify that particular observation to either of these three categories. So suppose this is a particular data where we have collected data on k random variables. These random variables are being observed on these 100 sampling units. So these are the units on which we have observed data. So they may be customer, they may be students, likewise they can be anything on which we are observing these k variables. So this will be the core of the data, and along with these k variables, one additional response variable is there, and that response variable is, say in this particular case, it is dichotomous, it is yes or no kind of thing. So based on these, suppose if this is a bank data or credit card data, so based on these parameters, bank has approved or disapproved loan application. So suppose on these 100 customers, this y variable is already known, whether bank has approved the loan or not. To these 100 customers, that entire information is given to us. So up to this information is given. So for these 100 customers, what are different readings on different parameters, different variables, those are given, and along with those, a response variable is given. It will indicate whether the bank has approved the loan or disapproved the loan. Now suppose some new entry has arrived, so some new customer is there. So we are having his reading on x1, his reading on x2 up to xk. So based on this data, we have to predict whether bank will approve the loan or bank will disapprove the loan. So from this particular, if this is the particular combination of customers reading on different variables, then bank is approving the loan. And for this particular combination, or the combination which is very nearby to this combination, for those particular application. So based on, and then for this particular new observation, we are predicting whether bank will approve the loan or disapprove the loan. Now this is a data set, and when a particular model, identifier is has to identify certain pattern from this particular data, and it has to come up with some classification tool. Then ideally what is expected, when we have provided this particular data, just a minute. When we are given with this particular data, then classifier should, right at that particular point, it should start building a model. Once that model is built, then whenever a new customer arrives, then according to that model, whether yes or no response variable will be there, that needs to be classified. But knn is a typical classifier which doesn't do anything. Even if we have provided the data to knn classifier, it will not do anything. When a new customer will arrive, that at that particular time knn classifier will start working. And how it starts working, it will take this particular observation, and already we are having 100 observations, so 1 to 100. So this new observation, how much or at what distance this particular observation is from first observation, that distance will be calculated. So distance between, say this is, say, test observation to, so test observation and 1, what is the distance between test observation and 1? What is the distance between test observation and 2? Similarly, what is the distance between test observation and 100th observation? These distances will be calculated, and if in knn classifier a particular value of k is, say, 5, so if we want to have 5 nearest neighbors, then 5 smallest distance in these particular 100 distances will be identified, and corresponding entries will be considered. So those entries are, suppose 37, 39, 45, 69, and say 83. So if these are the 5 observations which are very nearby to the given test observation, then these observations will be given a choice to determine what could be the output value for the new observation or test observation. So these five, among these five observations, so most of the observations, say three observations are having class label as yes, then this test observation will be identified to have class label as yes. If here three or more than three yes values are there, then this test observation will be classified as S. If here three or more than three observations are no, then this particular test observation will be classified as no. So once we identify nearest neighbors for that particular observation, then we will consider the majority among those nearest neighbors. So whichever is the majority, if yes is the majority, then the test observation will be classified to yes. If majority is for no, then test observation will be classified for no. So if in specific case, then we are talking about three or more than three. So whatever be the value of k, based on that majority index will be considered. So if k is equal to 7, then 4 or greater than 4, that will be a majority kind of thing. So likewise, whatever new observation is there, that observation will be measured from each and every observation from these 100 observations, and then suppose 1 2 up to 100, and this is say O1 is the new observation. So for this particular observation we have calculated these particular distances, and then suppose if we are talking about five nearest neighbors, then five smallest distance among these distance column will be considered, and based on what majority is there among these five observations, what class label these five observations are having, among those which is the more likely, which is the class level that is happening or that is occurring more frequently among those five, that particular class level will be identified to be a class level of the new observation. But while doing so, it is a quite tedious task. Now suppose instead of 100, suppose the data is on 10,000 observations. So suppose a new customer, suppose this new entry has been arrived. So suppose for example, suppose if we are having regression model, now this KNN classifier, even if it is a classifier, this can also be used as a regression model. So suppose these are the five nearest neighbors and response variable is say numeric, y is numeric. Then what we will do for this 37th customer, what is the value of y? For this 39th customer, what is the value of y? Similarly, for this 83rd customer, what is the value of y? So these numeric values will be there. Five numeric values will be there. We'll simply take arithmetic mean of those values, and this arithmetic mean will be considered to be y value for this test observation. So even if this looks like a classification model, this can be still used as a regression model. So in regression, what we are going to do when we are using KNN as a regression model, we'll just identify the nearest neighbors, and whatever numeric variable, numeric response these five values has taken, just we will take arithmetic mean or average of those five responses, and those responses, that average response will be assigned as a response given by test observation. So for this test observation, response will be average of these five readings, or readings on response variable of these five units. So this particular KNN classifier can still be used as a regression model. So now suppose if we are having a regression model in particular scenario, now forget about KNN classifier. Suppose a regression model, least square regression model has been fit, say y is equal to alpha plus beta x kind of thing. So value of alpha and beta is known. From the data we have, using least square method, we have come up with the value of alpha and beta. Suppose new observation has come and its x value is known. So now that observation will ask us what y value should be there for me. So we'll just put this x value here. Alpha and beta are already known. Just putting x value here, we can come up with some value of y. Say y comes out to be 3.2. So for this particular unit, y cap, estimated value of y will be 3.2. So within a fraction of time, just by putting value of x as 3.2 in our regression model, we'll come up with estimate of y. So this particular prediction of value of y is taking just a minute or two. But now when a particular observation, when new observation say O1 comes to you, and it asks you that you are having data of data on 1,000 persons. So you must be expertise. You must have expertise in deciding whether I will get a loan or not, because you are already seen. You have already gone through these 10,000 customers who have, among them, some have approved loans and some haven't been approved loan by the bank, and therefore you are in a position to decide whether I will get a loan or not. So this O1 will come to you and it will ask, these are my parameters, this is my age, this is my gender, this is my income, these are the number of persons, those are dependent on me. So that particular observation will provide all these values. So whatever x1, x2, xk, these values are there, variables are there. On these, all these variables values will be provided by O1, and O1 will ask you that whether I will get a loan or not. So right now we will start studying the entire system. We will not, this when we are applying KNN classifier, we haven't done anything before. When new observation comes in, that is the point when we start working, and therefore this is a lazy algorithm. So now what will happen, this when this O1 comes, we will take this O1 into consideration, and this O1 will be compared with 1. What is the distance between O1 and 1? That will be calculated. Distance comes out to be 0.005. But still, even if this is very small distance, and this for this particular customer, suppose loan has been approved, so we can't say directly that this O1 will have approved loan, O1 will get approved the approval for the loan from the bank. We cannot directly say from this particular point, because even if 0.005 seems to be very small, it may happen that from the second point this particular observation is having distance of say 0.003, and this second customer is a customer who was not approved the loan. So this may happen that, therefore unless and until we calculate all the distances, we are not in a position to say something about whether O1 will get loan or not. So what we will have to do is, we have to calculate distance between O1 and 1 using some Euclidean or Manhattan measure. So there are different distance measures we can adopt to any one, and based on that we can calculate distance between O1 and 1. Then we will calculate distance between O1 and 2. Then we will calculate distance between O3 and 2. After 5 minutes, this O1 observation will ask you that I have asked you whether I will get a loan. Are you going to tell me or not? And what we will say to that particular observation, wait, we are in a position to calculate that. We are calculating, we are in the process of that. We have calculated your distance from first 100 observations, and now we are calculating your distance from 101st observation. So it will take time. It will wait for another 5-10 minutes, and it will again ask you, and you will say that we have calculated your distance from initial 700 observation, still there are some observations from which your distance needs to be calculated. So that observation will get bored, that how long you are going to calculate these distances. So uh, this particular data set from 1 to 10,000, that was given to you a long back. In the last week only that data has been given to you, and still you are processing this particular thing. I have come right now, but the data has been given in the last week only. So why didn't you analyze that particular data from last week to this particular point? At that particular point, this the particular entire scenario, what O1 distance between O1 and all other observations we are calculating, we will realize that this is taking a time. And why this is, why we are doing this at this particular time when O1 was arrived, because we are calculating distances, and for calculating that distance, what is O1, that should be understood. So even if data was given, O1 is not provided. So unless and until O1 new observation is not provided, unless and until that particular observation has not been provided, we cannot calculate the distances. And therefore this particular mechanism of KNN classifier is in such a way that unless and until test observation comes in, this algorithm doesn't starts working. But because of this, there is a serious drawback of this particular classifier. When a new observation comes in, we have to calculate 10,000 distances. Once we calculate 10,000 distances, then we have to find out which are the 5 minimum distances. If we are talking about KNN classifier with k is equal to 5, then out of these 10,000 distances, we will identify which are those 5 distances which are least in this particular column, and then corresponding units will be identified, and among those units whether yes are occurring with majority or no are occurring with majority. Based on that, decision will be taken, and this O1 will be either classified as yes or no. So because we need to calculate these much distances, it is going to take the time. So this particular algorithm, this algorithm y is equal to alpha plus beta x, this has learned at one time whatever data was given. From that particular data, it has learned that it has come up with values of alpha and beta. So since it has come up with values of alpha and beta, we say that it has learned from the data. So learning is complete. So whenever x comes in, just put the value of x, and within a second we will come up with estimate of y. But that is not going to happen over here. When new observation comes in, at that particular point our learning starts. So this observation will be compared with each and every observation from the database. So these 10,000 comparisons need to be done. If your database is having 10,000 observations, then these 10,000 comparisons need to be done. And once we do these 10,000 comparisons, then we will have to identify 5 observations or 5 smallest distance in this particular column, and those will be the nearest neighbors of this particular observation. And once we have pointed out those 5 nearest neighbors for the observation, then based on the majority, we will say that this observation belongs to yes category or no category. So this is quite a tedious task. Even if there are 100 observations, and even if, and fortunately suppose our system is like this, say these are the observations first, second, up to 10,000, and on every observation we have 2 readings, say on x1 and x2. So x1 is say income and x2 is say age. So whenever a new observation comes in with a particular income, say 30,000 per month, and age as say 35, so this new observation will be compared with this observation. For this particular first observation, what is the income, what is the age? Here income and age are given. So suppose this income is say 40,000, age is say 37. So distance between these two will be calculated as 30,000 minus 40,000 bracket square plus 35 minus 37 bracket square and square root of this. So this is a Euclidean distance between these observations, say O, and this first observation. So once we calculate this distance, then we will move to the second, and we will complete the distances from 10,000 observations. So we will calculate all these distances. So this seems tedious. Even if there are only 2 variables, then also calculating the distances for 10,000 observations in the data set, that becomes a tedious task. So just imagine when we are having a bulk of data set, 1 lakh entries are there in the data set, and there are say 100 variables. So for calculating just one distance, we have to have these 100 differences and its square. Then we have to add it. We have to take square root of it, and then we will calculate one distance. And this particular process we need to repeat 1 lakh times, because there are 1 lakh entries in the data set. And therefore this becomes a quite tedious task. So this is a very serious drawback of KNN classifier, but still it is being used. But this particular drawback needs to be removed using some techniques. And this is not the only drawback of KNN classifier. The execution time, it takes very large. The execution time required for this KNN classifier is very large, or execution time, or we can say classification time. The point when the test observation comes in, from that point onwards till we have classified that particular point, the time in between, the time that has been elapsed in between, that is very large in case of KNN classifier. There is another drawback. Suppose the data is suppose the data is like this. So these are the x1 values, and this particular column contains x2 values. These values x1 and x2 values, these are plotted over here. Now suppose there is one observation, or suppose I have copied the same graph here. Now suppose there is one observation as, suppose the observation lies somewhere say here. Now this observation, the distance of this observation from this particular observation and this observation. If we want to compare these two distances, now if we observe x-axis and y-axis, or x1 axis and x2 axis, on x1 axis this much entire distance is just a 3.5 units, whereas this distance is 30 units. So data on y-axis or x2 axis is quite spread. The spread of the data or range of the data is quite large on x2 axis compared to that on x1 axis. So even if these two observations, suppose these two observations are this much distance away from each other, and from in x1 space, and similarly same observations on vertical space, they are this much distance away from each. So it seems that this distance and this distance are same, but when we consider scaling, this stands for say 5 to 7, so 2 units distance, and this is just a 0.2 units of distance. So data are being measured, the x1 data is being measured in some other units, x2 data is being measured in some other units, and therefore we cannot directly compare these deviations, right? And therefore whenever we are taking distance, if we are taking say distance between 2 points, say x and y, so what we are doing is distance, this distance will be x1 minus x2 bracket square plus y1 minus y2 bracket square. So the first point x is say x1 y1, the other point y is say x2 y2, and we are calculating distances between. Now in the entire space, this x1, this first axis, that is having a very small range, and therefore this particular distance x1 minus x2, this distance is, suppose this is x-axis now and this is y-axis. So on x-axis these 2 points are there. Coordinate, x coordinate of the first point is x1, x coordinate of the second point is x2. So we are calculating distance between them, difference between them, we are squaring it. Similarly for these 2 points, so suppose these 2 points are like this, say. So what is its x coordinate, what is the x coordinate of this point? So we are calculating this distance and we are squaring this. Then what we are doing, this particular point, its y coordinate is somewhere here, and for this y coordinate is somewhere here, so we are calculating this particular distance. Now suppose this distance comes out to be 0.2 and this also comes out to be 0.2, or say it is 1 units. In this particular case it is not 1, but suppose this is 1 unit, this is also 1 unit. So what we are going to do, square root of 1 square plus 1 square is equal to square root of 2. So this one and this one we have treated in the similar manner, but we have to be cautious that this 1 unit is a very large distance when the entire data is having spread from 1 to 3. Comparing to that, difference of 1 unit is quite large, but on y-axis difference of 1 unit when your data, entire data is spread from 0 to 30, comparing to that, 1 unit is a very small quantity. But unfortunately when we are using this Euclidean formula, we are treating all differences to be in equal way, or in same way we are treating all those differences. We are not considering what is the range of that particular data. So even if the two observations are very near to each other in x1 space, but because they are different in x2 space, and that range of x2 is quite large, and therefore even a slight distance between two observations on x2 or y space, that is going to cause a larger distance. Overall distance between xy will be large, because y1 minus y2, this large difference, because even if two observations are quite away from each other, then also they can be at the most they can be 2 units away from each other, because that is the range of the data in x space. So even if they are 2 units away, but fortunately suppose these two observations are near to each other, say 10 and say near, not exactly near, suppose 10 and 12. So again this difference is 2, so 10 minus 12, 2, 2 square, so here 4, here 4. So this value might be smaller with respect to other values. Other values, they are different, other 2 points may be differing from each other by larger margin, and that is because the margin on y-axis. So even if two observations are differing, the way in which they are differing, that is different on both the spaces. and as such we cannot compare this x1 plus x2 square and y1 plus y2 square. So what we are doing here is, say, this particular data is in, say, centimeter. Suppose or suppose if we are considering suppose we are considering that bank data. So suppose this is, say, age in certain units, this is age, and this is, say, income in rupees. So x1 minus x2, this is going to be years. So something, some years minus some other years, so x1 minus x2, this will be, say, years. So it will be, say, 32 years square. Suppose this difference comes out to be 32, square of this difference is 32, plus y1 minus y2 bracket square, suppose that is, say, uh, 35,000 rupees square. So we are adding these two quantities and then we are taking square root. So that doesn't make sense, because these observations are measured on different units, these observations are measured on different units. I am not saying that this Euclidean distance formula is wrong. Euclidean distance formula is correct as long as those x and y, those are defining position of something in a multidimensional space. So if this point is having coordinate 2 3, some other point is having coordinate 4 1, then they are just purely numbers, they do not have certain units associated with them. And in that particular case, this Euclidean formula is the best formula. But right now here, the unit on x axis and unit on y axis, these are different, and therefore when we are calculating such kind of distances, we are giving more weightages to those observations or those variables which are having higher range, whose spread is larger. They are going to define whether two observations are going to be closer or not, because these difference on y-axis, difference in terms of income, that is always going to be larger. And this, suppose age or some other factor is there, that variable at the most it can be, say, 32, but so this difference in income, suppose the minimum value for that difference is 10,000. So comparing to that 10,000, this is the minimum difference in y on y-axis, and this is the maximum difference on x-axis. So this maximum is a very small than the minimum difference on y-axis, and therefore this 32 will not be given a due consideration. When we are focusing on 10,000, and if we add 32 in that particular, that number is not going to change by a large margin, because when we are at 10,000, 10,000 and 10,032 both are the same values. So if today gold price is 10,000, tomorrow it is 10,032, then also we are going to say that there is no difference between gold prices on 2 days. They are very nearby each other. But if today something is measured to be 32 centimeter and tomorrow it is measured as, say, 50 centimeter, then that 80 centimeter difference is going to cause a 60% increase in the observation. So that 18 difference of 18 is large. So what is your base? Comparing to that, the values will be compared. So when your base is 10,000, with respect to that, 32 is very insignificant number, and therefore these numbers which are measured on smaller range values, or the variables which are having smaller spread, they are going to be uh, overlooked. They will not be given a due consideration while calculating the distances, and therefore we should have certain strategy where all these variables will be given equal weightages. So for that, we need to remove these particular units. We have to have some strategy by which we can remove these units. This is the first thing. And then somehow we have to standardize the range. So range is, right now for this particular, the minimum income is, say, 5,000 and maximum income is, say, 55,000. So this range is 50,000. Here suppose the difference is, the minimum value is, say, 22 and maximum value is, say, 54. So range is 32. So these two ranges are different. So somehow we have to standardize these range values. So for that, there are different techniques. So we have to normalize or standardize. These techniques are called as normalization technique. We are making things normal. So we are bringing them to a common platform. So there are different ways of normalizing the data. I'm not talking about statistical normalization. It is what verbally normalization means. I have taken that particular meaning. So when we are talking about normalization, there are different techniques of normalization. What we have studied in statistics, the value minus its mean divided by its standard deviation, that is also a one kind of standardization or normalization. But that is not the only normalization that we talk about, that as a normalization, because that reduces the data to standard normal distribution. But here we are not sure that this data is normally distributed. So, and again, we don't want to go to distribution theory. So what we can do over here is, so suppose these are the, suppose we'll focus only on, say, first variable, only on this first variable x. So we are, suppose there are 10 observations with 10 units with these observations. So what we will consider is what is the maximum value in this data set and what is the minimum value in this data set. So maximum x value and minimum x value. So this is the difference that we call as a range. So this is the range of x data. Now suppose this is the minimum value, this is the maximum value, and all other values are in between. Now what we will consider is how far this particular value is from this mean value, comparing to the total deviation. Total deviation in the data is this much, maximum minus minimum. Comparing to that, how much this distance is. So this in order to calculate this distance, this is the observation, say xi. So xi minus this minimum value, this is the difference of xi from minimum value, how much that weighs, or how much proportion it is having with respect to entire deviation. So we'll take this particular ratio. So this will be taken to be, say, new xi value. So it will be xi minus minimum of xi divided by maximum of x minus minimum of x. So I will tell you what actually we are doing over here. So we have seen change of origin and change of scale. Suppose here it is origin, so we are bringing this origin at this particular point. So we are making change of origin. So when we are making origin to come to this particular point, so suppose this particular point is 5 and suppose here it is 7. So when this origin is moved to here, this 7 will now be read as 2. This, because here it is origin and this is 2 units distance, so this will now in the new system it will be 2. How that 2 comes in? So 7 minus 5 is 2. So whenever we are changing the origin, whenever we are bringing the origin at this particular point, so whenever we are bringing origin here, this particular point will turn out to be minus 5, because this is distance of 5 units. So it is 5 units away from the origin on left hand side, so this point will have x coordinate as minus 5. So how that minus 5 arrived? This 0 minus this new origin. So 0 minus 5. So whenever a observation is shifted, or say origin is shifted, a new coordinate will be calculated just by doing this particular thing. Whatever it's reading right now, we are having that minus whatever this new origin is. What was the old coordinate of this new origin? So that will be subtracted. So xi minus minimum of xi. So this will be numerator. Now what we want to do is, now origin is here and this is our system. What we want to have is, we want to change the scale, this distance. So whenever this maximum value is here, so we want this distance to be called by 1. So this will be the unit distance in our new system. So in order to have this particular as a unit distance, we have to divide by maximum of x minus minimum of x. So this distance will be, so whenever suppose this maximum is, say here, say 5. So suppose here it is 10. So in the new system it will be 2, this will be 1. So how this 10 arrived? It is 10 divided by this 5. So similarly, whatever this coordinate, whatever this new point is there, that will be divided by maximum of x minus minimum of x. So by doing this, by doing this, we are simply changing origin and scale. So even if you don't get about this particular point, don't bother about that. Just remember this formula, that when we are doing max min normalization, in that particular way of normalizing the things, we are using this particular formula. Xi star is equal to xi minus minimum of xi divided by maximum of x minus minimum of x. Same thing will be performed on y. Now suppose we are having a data. So suppose I have copied the same data here. So this is the data on x1 variable and this one is on second variable. So here you can see over here, I have calculated maximum, this is the minimum. Again, this is the maximum of x2, minimum of x2. So how we are going to do max min algorithm, max min normalization? So for this particular observation, what we are going to do is this maximum minus minimum, this difference will be calculated, and that will be taken in the denominator. In the numerator, what we will have is this observation minus this minimum value. So here you can see C6 minus C18, this minimum of the observation, divided by C17 minus C18, so maximum minus minimum, and same function I have dragged over here. So this, for this particular observation, this is the smallest observation in the data set. So when we are saying xi minus minimum, when we are saying xi minus minimum, so when this xi itself is the minimum observation in this data set, same value we are taking as minimum. So this minimum minus minimum, this difference is going to be 0 in that particular case, and therefore corresponding to the minimum observation we will have 0 reading. So here 1.05, that one is minimum observation, corresponding to it we are having 0. Similarly, whenever this xi is maximum observation in the given data set, so this will be maximum observation in the given data set, same observation is taken over here. So maximum minus minimum divided by maximum minus minimum, so this ratio will turn out to be 1. So wherever maximum observation is there, this particular difference will be exactly equal to 1. Now suppose if I change this particular, say 2.5, say, or 2.81 to say 2.95, so this will be the largest observation. Now this is the largest observation. 2.96 is there, so 2.98. Once I change this particular observation, corresponding to it we will have 0, and this is the minimum, still it is minimum observation, so corresponding to it we will have 0. So what happens is the minimum observation will be mapped to 0, maximum observation will be mapped to 1, and in between observations will be mapped accordingly. So what is the total difference? If this is mapped to 0, if this is mapped to 1, then to what particular point this has to be mapped? So we are already having formula for that as xi minus minimum divided by maximum minus minimum. So doing this particular calculation, we have got this new x1 column, and this x1 is having the range from 0 to 1. This particular column is always going to contain one value, at least one value. If there are two similar values which are working as minimum, say this particular value is 1.05, this particular 1.0505, so same value is appearing over here, then we will have two zeros. So if minimum is attained at two different points, then we will have two zeros, but at least 1 0 we can give guarantee. So there will be at least 1 0, at least one value of 1, and all other values are in between 0 to 1. So we have transformed the given data on a scale of 0 to 1. So this is nothing but a normalization or standardization of the data. This x1 is now standardized, and that has been now mapped on a scale of 1. So on unity scale, we have mapped the entire data. Same thing we can do with x2 also. So here, this particular x2 will be subtracted from its minimum value divided by max minus mean. So this is the maximum value minus this is the minimum value. So using this function, now if we drag this particular value wherever we have taken D18, when we drag it, next values D19, D20 will be taken, and therefore we want to change just D6 value by these values, and these all other values we want to be constant. Therefore we will put a $sign so that they will not run. Here this is the maximum value, corresponding to it we have got 1. In this particular column, this 7.75 is the minimum value, corresponding to it we have got 0. So now this particular data x2 and x2 star, this data is measured on same scale. This is having a range of from 0 to 1, this is also having range from 0 to 1, and therefore difference of 0.1 units here. Suppose there are two observations which are having difference in on x1 star variable, and that difference is say 0.1, and here also there are two observations whose difference on x2 star is 0.1. Now these are equal, we can say they are comparable. When this was measured in on some different range, this was measured with respect to some different range, then the difference of 0.1 and 0.1, they were not comparable. Here 0.1 means something different, here 0.1 means something different. But now since we have standardized the things, therefore this 0.1 difference between two observations on x1 star and zero point 0.1 difference on between two observations on x2 star, both are meaning the same. And therefore, because of this standardization, we have brought these two variables on a same platform, and therefore they are now in a comparable position. So whatever number of variables are there, all those variables will be standardized. Once we standardize those variables, then we can have knn classifier acting upon on this particular transform data. Because otherwise, if we calculate distances on this particular matrix, whatever data matrix we are provided, if we calculate distances directly on that particular matrix, then definitely we are going to commit mistakes, because all the variables are measured on different units, different scales. So we have to bring them on a same scaling line, same scaling range. So once we brought them on a similar range, then we can calculate distances between them, and then we can have smallest distance, nearest neighbor. Once we obtain those nearest neighbors, then all other process is same. The only thing is that instead of calculating distances on the given data, firstly we will transform the data, we will standardize the data. Once data has been transformed, data has brought on a similar range, or we can say scales, then we can compare, we can calculate distance between 2 points, and then we can continue with the knn classifier method. So by doing this, we are removing one drawback of knn classifier. So as we saw here, this knn classifier, the first drawback was execution time, and the second was distance was heavily loaded by those variables which were having large range. So if range is large for a particular variable, suppose x1, x2, xk, these are the variables, and x5 is having the largest range, and that is very much larger than other variables range. So in that case, x5 is going to have a dominant say. X5 is going to have a dominant say with respect in deciding what could be the distance. So whenever we are calculating distance between two observations, the opinion of x5 will have more weightage than the other variables, because the range of x5 is larger, and therefore difference between two x5, difference between two observations in terms of x5, difference between two x5 coordinates is going to be larger, and therefore that particular difference is going to define the distance. So other observation, other variables, they are going to be of least importance. And whenever we are using knn classifier, we don't want this particular phenomena to happen, and therefore in order to treat each and every variable equivalently, we have to standardize, we have to scale all the variables. Once we scale all these variables, then we can continue with the knn classifier method. So this is one thing.